Hello everyone, hope all of you are safe and healthy. Welcome to IASbaba's Rapid Revision Series for Prelims 2021. This is session 37 and day 51. And the topics we have are Sufi movement and the Bhakti movement. Friends, I have tried to include as many facts as possible so that you will not be having anything to refer the other books. We will see. These are the hot topics we are going to discuss. That is the Bhakti movement's overview, then Basaveshwara's Veerashaivism, and then Sant Kabir and Adi Shankaracharya. Here we discuss Dvaita, Advaita and Vishishta Advaita philosophies, and then brief overview of Sufism, and then terms in Sufism, then Nizamuddin Aliyah and Ajmer Sharif, Bibi Fatima and Tibetan Buddhism. So Buddhism was demanded by you, that is why the topic has been chosen. So coming to first, Bhakti movement overview. Friends, Bhakti movement will always be in news, and the Prime Minister's speeches and editorials, they carry Bhakti movements more often than not. So in that context, it becomes important. So Bhakti movement started from 9th century and till 17th century it continued. And Bhakti movement propounded Bhakti or devotion as the main path to attain moksha or nirvana. And here the first ones were Alvars and Nayanars. Friends, Nayanars we discussed in the last class, and coming to Alvars, the Andal, Nammalvar, Periyalvar and Tondaradipadi Alvar. So these are some of the Alvar saints. And some of the books were Divya Desam and Nalayira Divya Prabandham. And then Vedanta Philosophy, the Adi Shankara, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, they come under this category. So we will discuss about them later. Then Surdas. Surdas was a devotee of Krishna, and he wrote Sursagar, Sursaravali and Sahitya Lahari. And then Tulsidas. Tulsidas was a devotee of Rama, and he wrote Ramacharita Manas, which is famous. And then Ramananda. Ramananda propounded Bairagi Sampradaya, or a austeritic devotion, and he had several disciples like Kabir, Raidas, Ravidas, Haridas, Sadhana and Sena. Then Dadu Dayal. Friends, Dadu Dayal survived somewhere around Gujarat region, and he started Dadu Panthis. And his book Anubhav Bani is famous, and Bani was asked by UPSC once, and then he started Dadu Tambas, or the ashrams of Dadu Dayal. And he also started Dadu Akadas to teach martial arts. And Guru Nanak, we know that he was the founder of Sikhism, and the followers of Guru Nanak, they believe that there are only 10 Sikh Gurus in Sikhism, and they also believe that Guru Granth Sahib is the only holy book of Sikhism. But however, Namdaris, they believe that there were Gurus even after the 10th Guru, that is the Guru Govind Singh, and they believe that Balak Singh was the 11th Guru, and they also believe that Dasham Granth was also a holy book along with Guru Granth Sahib. And friends, Namdaris, they wear white and white, and this is how Namdaris dress. Then more about Buddhism. Namdev. So Namdev propounded both Saguna and Nirguna Bhakti, that is to worship both formed and formless God. And then Gnaneshwara. Some of his books were Gnaneshwari and Amrutanubhava. Friends, Namadev, Gnanesh, Eknath, Tukaram, they belong to Maharashtra, and they were Varkari saints, or they were Vitoba Krishna devotees, and they propounded Vitoba Krishna Bhakti. And Eknath, his books were Shukastaka, Swapna Sukha, Anandalahiri, Chiranjeevi Pada, and Gita Sara, and also Prahalad Vijaya. So he wrote several books. And then came Tukaram. Tukaram was famous for his Kirtans, Abhangas, and Maratha nationalism. So it is being said that by Tukaram, the Shivaji was motivated to conquer and establish Maratha kingdom. And then came Mirabai. Mirabai, Narsi Mehta, they were somewhere around Gujarat, Rajasthan region, and Mirabai was famous for her bhajans. And Narsi Mehta once again for bhajans, that is Vaishnava Janato Tene Kahiye Je, and then he was also called the Gujarati Adi Kavi, or the foremost poet of Gujarat. And then came Ramdas. Ramdas lived somewhere around Andhra Pradesh, and his books were Dasabodha, Manobodha and Atmaram. And he was an aggressive devotionist, that is he propounded an aggressive Bhakti movement against the Islamic invasion. And then Purandara Dasa, he was a Hari Dasa, or the devotee of Hari, or devotee of Vishnu, and he was called the father of Carnatic music in Karnataka. And then Kanakadasa. Kanakadasa was also from Karnataka, and he started Kirtanas, and he was famous for Uga Boga. Uga Boga means those songs which are sung without tala. And then Siddhas. Siddhas were famous in Tamil Nadu region, and some of the famous Siddhar saints were Agasthyar, Bogar, Kamalamuni and Tirumular. Friends, this R, it means someone from Tamil, because in Tamil Nadu, Rama and Krishna are pronounced as Ramar and Krishnar. And then came yogis. Friends, yogis are present all over India, and they propound yama and niyama for attaining moksha, that is ethics and some of the physical rules. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, all these are yogic philosophies. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he propounded Achintya Beda philosophy, and his ideologies were called Gaudiya Vaishnavism, or the Vaishnavism for the Gaudiya sect, and his ideologies were collected in Shikshastakam. And then came Shankaradeva. Shankaradeva started Satriya dance, Bhavana dance, Ankiyanat, Borgit in Assam. And he also started some literary works like Brajavali, or the collection of songs in Braj. And then Ekasarana Dharma. Some of his philosophies can be called as a Dharma, that is Ekasarana Dharma. So this is all about Bhakti movement. Coming to next, Basavanna's Veerashaivism. Friends, Basavanna was a 12th century philosopher, statesman, a social reformer, and he belonged to Kalachuri dynasty, and he was a minister under King Bijala I in Karnataka. And Basavanna was famous for vachanas, those 3 to 4 lined shlokas which spoke about day-to-day life of every common man. And then Basavanna rejected gender and social discrimination. He also rejected superstitions and rituals. And he introduced new public institutions such as Anubhava Mantapa, a platform where scholars can discuss the spiritualistic initiatives. And then he led Veerashaivas, and Veerashaivas were similar to Nayanars, or the Shiva Bhakti saints. And then he personalized direct worship of Shiva through small linga. So he tied a linga around his neck, and he also asked his disciples to tie one. And then the Sharana movement he presided, it attracted the people from all castes and religion. And then Basaveshwara is the first Kannadiga in whose honor a commemorative coin has been minted. So in his honor a coin has also been minted. And in November 2015, Prime Minister inaugurated the statue of Basaveshwara along the bank of River Thames at Lambeth in London. So those UK devotees of Basaveshwara, they established a statue, and this is all about Basavanna. Then coming to next, Sant Kabir. Friends, Sant Kabir was born in the city of Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh, and he was brought up by a Muslim couple who were weavers by profession. And he led Kabir Panthi, a spiritual philosophy, and in his poems, Kabir calls himself Julaha or Kori. So both means a weaver. That is, even though he was a highly intellectual person, he never shied from calling himself a person belonging to lower caste. And then he was strongly influenced by Veerashaiva saint Swami Ramananda. Yes, we know that Ramananda had several disciples like Ravidas, Raidas, Kabir, etc. And then his famous writings include Sakhi Granth, Anuraga Sagar, Bijak, and Kabir Granthavali. So these are his books. Then more about Sant Kabir. His great writing Bijak has a huge collection of poems. Friends, Bijak was already asked by UPSC once, we will remember that. He wrote on the concept of reincarnation and karma. So all his writings were belonging to how to get rid of karma and how to get rid of this cycle of rebirth. Then he had written his poems in Hindi mixed with Awadhi, Brajbhasha and Bhojpuri. So he preached in local language as well. And the poems are called Dohas, Shlokas or Sakhis. And he was famous for his 2-line couplets or the Dohas. Then the major part of his work was collected by the 5th Sikh Guru, Guru Arjan Dev. And the verses of Kabir Das are found in Sikhism's scripture, that is in the Guru Granth Sahib. So we can say that Kabir, he was born by a Hindu and he was brought up by a Muslim family, and his ideologies are present in Sikhist holy book. So this is all about Sant Kabir. Friends, all these people are important because every year we celebrate Kabir Jayanti, Basava Jayanti and others. So that is why they become important. Then come to next, Adi Shankaracharya. Friends, Adi Shankaracharya was born in Keladi, Kerala in 788 AD, and he propounded the doctrine of Advaita, that is monism, and he wrote many commentaries on Vedic canon. So they were commentaries on Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and it was in Sanskrit. And his major work is Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Friends, Bhashya means commentary. So this was a commentary on Brahma Sutra. And his most famous stotra is Bhajagovindam. And we know that bhajan, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhajare. So this bhajan comes from this famous stotra. and he also composed Nirvana Shatakam. Nirvana Shatakam means those lines which lead us to Nirvana, enlightenment, and he was a devotee of Shiva. Now, come to next, he criticized Mimamsa school. Friends, we know that we have 6 basic school, that is Nyaya, Shanka, Vaisheshika, Yoga and Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Friends, this Shankara, Madhva, Ramanuja, they come under Uttara Mimamsa and they criticized Mimamsa or Purva Mimamsa philosophy. So friends, then Purva Mimamsa means Nyaya, Sankhya, Vaisheshika and Yoga philosophies, and Uttara Mimamsa means Dvaita, Advaita philosophies. Now, what is Mimamsa philosophy? Mimamsa is that came between Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, or we can say that Brahmanism and Buddhism, Jainism, these are Mimamsa philosophies, and they criticized Brahmanism as well as Buddhism, Jainism philosophies, or in other words, they criticized Buddhist philosophy. That is, while Buddhism asserts that there is no soul or no self, Hinduism says that Atman or self exists. Friends, we know that in Buddhism there is the concept of rebirth, but they don't believe in the presence of a soul or Atman. But however, in Hinduism we say that the rebirth exists very because there is presence of Atman. That is, Atman moves from one body to other after each rebirth. And then the basic theme of Advaita is that the one unchanging entity is real. That is, Brahma alone is real in this world, and the world is full of Maya or illusion, and only the Atman and Brahman both are real, and a person who realizes this attains moksha. And then Shankaracharya established 4 mutts in 4 corners of India, that is the Dwarka Peeth in Gujarat, then Jagannath Peeth in Puri, and then Jyotir Peeth in Badrinath, Uttarakhand, and Sringeri Peeth in Sringeri, Karnataka. Then he preached renunciation and adoption of knowledge path to realize Brahman. So here we discuss more about Dvaita, Advaita and Vishishta Advaita philosophy. First came Advaita philosophy of Shankaracharya and Gaudapada. Friends, Advaita philosophy says that Atman and Brahman are one and the same, or monism. So ultimately Atman has to merge with Brahman one or the other day. But in order to merge, it has a hindrance there, that is the world, Maya. So in order to reach Atman, you have to get rid of this world or Maya. So if you want to become a civil servant, you should leave those worldly matters. You should leave your girlfriend or boyfriend. Then came Dvaita philosophy. It was founded by Madhavacharya or Madhvacharya. And what it said is that the Atman and Brahman are different. So you need not merge with Brahman in order to attain moksha. So you need not cross these worldly matters. So now, worldly matters is not a veil or hindrance. This is a part of life. So even by practicing worldly matters, you can have a noble life. And moksha means here an escape from karma or the rebirth, and it is not merging with Paramatma. Or in other words, even if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and even if you don't clear UPSC, you will have a good life. And then came Vishishta Advaita. Vishishta Advaita says that Brahman is the supreme, and this Atman and this world Maya, they are the characteristics of Brahman, and he is the master controller who controls all this. Or in other words, it says that we can have a peaceful life even by following the worldly matters. But at the same time, we should not forget that God is the controller of all these things. Or in other words, even if we have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, we should not forget that UPSC is the controller of all these things. So if your girlfriend or boyfriend, if he or she qualifies and if you disqualify, then it's all waste. And then coming to next, Shuddha Dvaita. Shuddha Dvaita means an extreme Advaita philosophy, that is pure monism. Or in other words, you are bound to merge with Brahman, and you are nothing but a part of Brahman and Brahman alone. So you have to have a complete devotion and dedication to God in order to reach the Brahman. And that is Bhakti Marga, that was propounded by Vallabhacharya. That is, by complete surrender and devotion to God, only then you will attain moksha. Or in other words, you have to have a complete dedication to UPSC in order to get into civil service exam. This is some more orthodoxic than Shankaracharya's. And then came Beda Beda or Dvaita Dvaita. Friends, Dvaita Dvaita or Beda Beda means that is both dualism as well as monism is present. That is, at one part of life you can enjoy the worldly affairs, but at another part of life you will have to strive for merger or moksha. So at one part of day you can study, and other part of day you can enjoy. And then coming to Nimbaraka's Dvaita Dvaita. Nimbaraka says that when you have to enjoy worldly matters and when you have to merge with a God, that is decided by you. Or in other words, that comes under your mental capability, your chintya, or that comes under your swabhavika, your behavior. But however, Achintya Beda Beda that was propounded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that when you have to enjoy the worldly affairs or when you have to merge with a God, that is not decided by you, that is decided by the God. So in Nimbarakas, when you have to enjoy and when you have to study for UPSC is decided by you. But in Achintya Beda Beda, when you should study and when you should enjoy is not decided by you, it is decided by UPSC. So if UPSC sees you wandering there, it can prepone prelims and all your enjoyment will be curbed and you will get back to studies. So this is all about Dvaita, Advaita and Vishishta Advaita philosophy. I hope you have understood. Come to next. Brief overview of Sufism. Friends, just like Buddhism, Sufism will also be in use often. And here, Aligarh Muslim University has decided to set up a center for Sufism and Islamic philosophy. So that is why it becomes important. Now more about Sufism. It was founded in 1039 by Abul Hasan al-Ajviri and he has written a book in Persian called the Kashful Mazhab or the Unveiling or the Veiled or Enlightening the Ignorant. And Hajviri is revered as Data Ganjbaksh or the giver who bestows treasures. And then there are two broad Sufi orders, that is Bashara and Beshara. Bashara are those who obeyed Islamic laws with utmost stringency. But however, Beshara are those who were more liberal. And there were 12 silsilas or the orders under the Bashara. And most important ones were Chishti, Suhrawardi, Sharhindi and others. And Beshara was also called as Mast Kalandar. And they comprised of wandering monks who were also called Babas. Now, more about Sufism. The first one is the Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti and the Chishti order. So, Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti, he introduced Chishti order in India and he popularized Sama or Mehboob-e-Ilahi or a musical rendering to please Allah. And he kept aloof of royal court. So, he never interfered in politics. And our NCERT provides some of the Sufi saints belonging to Chishti Silsila. They are Sheikh Mainuddin Sidzi. He belongs to 1235 and he was in Ajmer. Then Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki the same year and in Delhi. Qutub Minar is built in his name. And then Sheikh Faruddin Ganji Shakar in 1265 Ajodan, Pakistan. Then Sheikh Nizamuddin Aliyah Delhi 1325 and Sheikh Naziruddin Chiragi Delhi once again Delhi 1356. And then come to next silsila, Sheikh Sihahuddin Suhrawardi and the Suhrawardi silsila. So he started this silsila and this silsila accepted all royal services or they interfered in politics. And then Sheikh Sihahuddin Suhrawardi, he wrote Aurif ul Marif or the knowledge of the spiritually learned. And then Abu Wali Kalandar. So he introduced Kalandariya order in India and he was one of the wandering monks and he was called Darvishes. So this was one sect which was started by Besharas, not Basharas. And then Abdullah Shattari, he introduced Shattari order and he belonged to Lodi times and it was during Lodi dynasty that he established this order. And then Tansen was the follower of this order and he claimed direct contact with the God. So this is what was his philosophy. Then come to next, Sheikh Nizamat Ullah and he introduced Qadri order in India. And then Khwaja Pir Muhammad, he introduced Naqshbandi order. And friends, this was a orthodox sect and it believed in Wahadut al-Wujud and it opposed Shia philosophy of Wahadut al-Shuhud. Friends, Wahadut al-Wujud means all are equal and they are equal from inner and outer spirits. But however, Wahadut al-Shahad says that all appear to be equal from outside but from inside they are different. So in other words, Wahadut al-Wujud says that Sunnis and Shias all are same. But however, Wahadut al-Shuhud says that Sunnis and Shias they appear to be same but they are different. So this difference between Sunnis and Shias were not likened by this Khwaja Pir Muhammad and he opposed that. And he also wrote Raid-e-Kafid, a book. Then Sheikh Sarfuddin Yahya, he popularized Firdausi order in India and he was a disciple of Khwaja Mainuddin Firdausi. And then Mian Biasid Ansari or Pir Roshan, he wrote the book Kai-ul Bhayan and he introduced Roshaniya order during Akbar's reign. And then Mullah Muhammad Mahdi, he opposed Orthodox Muslims, so he was a liberalist. and he introduced Mahadavi order in India. Then Nuruddin Nurani, he opposed Orthodox Muslims and he introduced Rishi order in India. So this is a brief overview of Sufism. Then some of the terms in Sufism will be asked in UPSC as well, friends. So now coming to the terms like Sufi, Pir and Murshid. So all mean one and the same, that is the saint. Then Murid means the follower, Murshid means the saint, Murid means the follower. Then Kanka means the place where Sufis lived or the hospices of Sufi saints. Then Khalifa means disciple. So to attain Khilafat means to become the disciple of a guru. And then Zikr means recitation of God's name. Then Tawbah means repentance. So repentance for your sins can also be a channel for transformation. And Fana, spiritual merging with Almighty. Then Urus means death. Then Sama, the musical gathering. Then Salikul, the universal brotherhood. Friends, this is one difference between Sufism and Bhakti movement. So Bhakti movement said that we have only our individual paths towards moksha. But Sufism says that in the universal brotherhood, the whole universe can move towards moksha together with oneness. Then Ulama or Alim are one who knows. So Ulama means a scholar in Islamic studies. And then come to next, Qiyas, that is reasoning by analogy, or Ijma, consensus of the community. That is, whatever Shariat law you come up with, it should either have Qiyas, the reasoning by analogy, or it should have Ijma, the consensus of the community. Then Zimmi means one who is protected. Then Shahada means the messenger. So messenger of God here is Prophet Muhammad himself. Then Namaz or Salat, that is offering prayers 5 times a day. Then Zakat means giving alms to the poorer or the weaker. Then Psalm means fasting during the month of Ramzan. Then Hajj or Ziyarat, it means performing pilgrimage to Mecca. We know that. Then Barakat, that is attaining Barakat means attaining the spiritual grace of Sufi saints. Then Langar, open kitchen, we know that. Then Futu, that is unasked for charity, that is charity without any selfish motive. Then Awqaf means charitable trusts. And Ina means tax free land. That is, every Sufi saint will be provided an opportunity to set up Awqaf and he will be provided free tax free land to set up them. So these are some of the words in Sufism. Then coming to next, Nizamuddin Aliyah. Once again friends, Nizamuddin Aliyah were in news because we celebrate their birthdays every year in his dargah. Then Nizamuddin Aliyah was born in Badayun in Uttar Pradesh in 1238 AD. And Nizamuddin Aliyah succeeded Baba Farid. And he was the fourth spiritual successor or the Khalifa of Hazrat Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti of Ajmer. So he was the successor of both Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti and also Baba Farid. And then he built his Khanqa in Ghiaspur near Delhi. And he was fond of feeding the hungry and helping the poor. And he led an austere life, that is the concept of simple living and high thinking. Then Nizamuddin Aliyah was the founder of Chishti Nizami order. And some of his famous disciples were Nasiruddin Chiragi Dehlavi, who became his spiritual successor. And then poet Amir Khusro was also his disciple. And then Muhammad Hussaini Gesu Daraz, a Sufi saint from Gulbarga, was also a disciple of Nizamuddin Aliyah. And then Shah Niyaz Ahmad Barelvi. Friends, you know that this person, he started Ahmadiyya movement and he was also the disciple of Nizamuddin Aliyah. So this is all about Nizamuddin Aliyah. Come to next, Ajmer Sharif. Friends, Ajmer Sharif will always be in news because either Prime Minister, Home Minister or any other political heads, they donate the chaddars there. And this dargah, it attracts people from all faiths and religion. Friends, almost all the mosques in India, they attract people from all faiths and religion. And coming to more about Khwaja Mainuddin Chishti. So Mainuddin Hasan Chishti was born in Sijistan, modern day Sistan in Iran. So he was not from India, but he was from Iran. And he belonged to 1141-42 AD. And he received Khilafat at the age of 52 from Sheikh Usman Harawani. And later when he went to Mecca, in Mecca he felt that Allah wants him to go to Hindustan and serve there. So that is why he started traveling towards east and he migrated and later he settled in Ajmer. And then slowly the Ajmer shrine got popularized and it was being visited by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Sher Shah Suri, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Dara Shikoh, then Jahanara Begum, Aurangzeb. So almost all Mughal rulers, they visited the Ajmer Sharif Dargah. Then this is the view of Ajmer Sharif Dargah. we can see a marble tomb and almost all the things made of marble and other ornaments here. And inside we have the dargah or the tomb which is decorated with flowers here. Then come to next about Khwaja Garib Nawaz Dargah. Khwaja Garib Nawaz Dargah or the Ajmer Sharif Dargah. So the shrine has Chisti's grave or the Maqbara of Chisti, and then it was constructed with white marble and it has 11 arches with Persian inscriptions, and it has a marble dome, and the actual tomb inside is surrounded by a silver platform. So we saw both the marble dome and the silver platform in the earlier slide, and in 1332 Muhammad bin Tughlaq constructed a dargah for him, and people they used to donate chadar whenever they visit the dargah. And in 1568 Akbar offered a deg or brass cauldron or something like kadai for cooking of langar, and another cauldron was offered by Jahangir, a big vessel. And then Akbar gave instructions to build mosques and khanqahs in Ajmer in 1569, and there is one Akbari mosque there that can be said as a contribution of this order of Akbar, and it is built in red sandstone. And an elegant mosque was also built by Shah Jahan in 1637 along with Shah Jahani Darwaza. So both Shah Jahani Darwaza and Shah Jahan's mosque are also being present in Ajmer Sharif Dargah. Then come to next Bibi Fatima. Friends, a newspaper report of Hindu, it carried the Bibi Fatima, the first woman Sufi saint of India. So that is why she becomes important. And Bibi Fatima belonged to Sam, a place on Iran-Iraq border, and she eventually settled down in Delhi, and her shrine is situated in Bapa Nagar or Kakanagar near Delhi. And Bibi Fatima's faith, she believed in the final meeting with a great beloved, that is final merger with Allah. Then she did not marry but passed her life in the love of Allah through meditation and mystic experience. And her murids or the disciples were both men and women. So it is not that she had only women devotees. Then Nizamuddin Aliyah called her Appa, a term endearingly used for an elder sister. So Nizamuddin Aliyah, he used to visit her dargah and he called her the elder sister. And the Bibi was a spiritual recluse for whom religion was just an outer covering. So religion is just a simple compliance. But however, a simple compliance is different from a Sufi compliance. A Sufi compliance is not just mere adherent of fasting and other prayers. It is complete or constant attunement to the eternal soul. So unlike the common man, a Sufi saint should live with utmost attunement, that is completely tuned towards the Almighty. This is all about Fatima Bibi. Then coming to next, Tibetan Buddhism. Friends, recently China is protesting against Dalai Lama's birthday. So what is the post of Dalai Lama? What were their ideologies? They all become important. So Tibetan Buddhism has four major schools, that is Nyingma, Kagyupa, Sakyapa and Gelugpa. So Nyingma, Kagyu, Sakya and Gelug. These are the four ideologies or four different schools of Tibetan Buddhism. And here Nyingma school, it means elders, that is the elders' words were given utmost prominence, and it was founded by Vajrayana revealer Guru Padmasambhava. So somewhere Tibetan Buddhism, it is closely linked towards Vajrayana Buddhism. And then this Nyingma school, it aims to achieve Dzogchen. Dzogchen means that primordial state of mind or Shunyata or thoughtlessness. Friends, once you start to meditate, your thoughts will disappear and you will get utmost concentration. So this was the main aim of Nyingma school. Once you achieve it constantly, then it is akin that you have attained moksha. And moreover friends, Nyingma school, it believed that the words of elders are very sacred and you have to follow the words of only those elder monks, and whatever are being said by these younger monks, they are not so sacred. So it didn't believe in Kagyu school, Shakya school and Gelug school, which were the sub-schools of Nyingma or which were established by the subsequent gurus after those elders, or these schools were established by younger gurus. So elder gurus, they didn't believe in these. And now coming to Kagyupa. So Kagyu school, it says about oral lineage, that is every preaching, it has come orally from guru to his disciple. So Buddha, he taught his preaching for the first student Tailapa, and Tailapa taught it to Naropa, Naropa to Marpa, Marpa to Milarepa and Milarepa to Gampopa. So here, as per the oral lineage, the preachings were transferred orally. But however, these disciples, they heard it in different way, and that gave birth to 4 different schools, that is Karma Kagyu school, then Drikung Kagyu school, then Drikpa lineage and Taklung Kagyu school. So they heard it differently and they set up their own philosophies. Then came Sakya school. Sakya means pale earth, friends. It was called Sakya school because it was set up on Ponpori hills, which has the pale earth or a denuded earth, and it was set up by Kongchong Gyalpo. So Kongchong Gyalpo, he set up his first ashram on these Pompori hills. That is why the name Sakya comes. And Sakya school upholds both sutras and tantras, that is philosophies and the action. Or in other words, sutras means those eightfold paths of Buddhism that was preached by Buddha, and they were provided in the written format. And these tantras, these are provided in the oral format. So these tantras, what you have to actually do over and above these eightfold paths of Buddhism, what are those rules and regulations you should follow on the day-to-day basis in order to achieve nirvana. So that was not written, that Buddha told orally to the disciples. So you have to follow both written as well as oral orders in order to attain nirvana. And then came Gelugpa school, or these are also called virtuous school. So it was founded by J. Tsongkhapa, and the first monastery for Gelug school was set up in Gendon, and it was called virtuous because it says that along with all this you have to have a virtuous character. Virtuous deeds will lead to moksha. And moreover, friends, this person J. Tsongkhapa, he was a very helpful person. He helped the needy and he fed the hungry, just like Nizamuddin Aliyah. So that is why on the basis of his character, this Gelug school says that you will have to have a good character in order to attain moksha. And then it also says that you have to thoroughly train in sutras before progressing to tantras. So you have to learn the written documents first and then go for the heard documents in order to attain moksha. Then by this time, friends, Mongolians, they attacked Tibet, and during the reign of Mongolians, these priests of Gendun ashram or Gendun monastery, they were acting as advisors to Mongolians. And now when Mongolians left, the priests of this Gendun monastery, they were called as the virtual administrators of Tibet. And that is why Gendun Drupa, the first advisor for Mongolians, and Gendun Gyatso, the second advisor for Mongolians, they were named as the first and second Dalai Lama. So it is from this culture that Dalai Lama came up. And friends, the first 3 schools has not become so prominent. They are prominent only in some of the Buddhist monasteries. But this Dalai Lama sect is prominent, or the Gelugpa sect is prominent in Tibet, and Tibetan Dalai Lama is famous even today. And how was this institute of Dalai Lama originated? It was originated by a Mongolian invasion, and these Buddhist priests acting as advisors to Mongolians. And then, friends, the followers of this Gelug school were called the Yellow Hats. So these are the Yellow Hats, followers of Gelug school. And the followers of other 3 schools are called the Red Hats. So they wear a red hat, and these people, they wear a yellow hat. So this is all about Tibetan Buddhism. Then coming to the last part, friends, Abraham Lincoln famously says that over and above all other pressures and privileges, your inner resolution to succeed matters the most. So why people do not succeed? Because they lack the inner resolution. And if you have that vision, mission, inner resolution, determination and dedication, then no one will stop you from achieving success. So develop that inner sense of dedication and determination, not only for the study but also for building the nation and making India the #1 place in this world. All the very best, friends. Good luck.